In this lesson, we're going to use one of the more advanced features of Java NIO. And what I mean by that actually is that we're going to need to use the most recent version of Java, Java 7. So if you don't have Java 7, if that's not the version that you downloaded, then go back and download it now, following the instructions for downloading that we went over in the beginning of the course, and then come back here. The version of Java I've been using for the lessons has not been Java 7, it's been Java 6. I always like to use one version below the most recent version, primarily to make sure that everything that I do is stable and there won't be any problems with a program that I might give to somebody else or that I might perhaps sell to a customer. What I want to do in this lesson is look at some methods for returning information about files. And we have to use Java 7 for that because these features aren't available in Java 6. So I'm going to use my Java 7 version for this lesson and then for the exercise that follows. But to do that, I'm going to have to go back to that version. And I hope I got this file path correct. And I do. So there it is. So you see what I did? I just went to Program Files, into Java, and then to the JDK 1.7.0. I need to go one more directory down to get to bin, where my compiler is located. So now we're ready to write the program. So we're going to call this program filedata.java. We need to import java.io.star, and then we need to import java.nio.file.star to get started with. So our class is called filedata. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a file to get data on. We're going to do that by using a path object. And so we're going to say paths.get arg sub 0. And in arg sub 0 will be the full path to the file that we want. So that could either be a file that's in the working directory, in which case you only have to give it the file name, or it could be the complete path. The example I'll use will involve the full path, just so you can see how that works. So once we get the file, we're ready to begin getting information on it. So the first thing we're going to do is just print out the file name. To do that, we call the getName method off of our file path variable with 1 as the argument to make sure that we get just the name. Now the next parts of this will require being used inside a try block. So first let's see if our file is hidden or not hidden. So we have a isHidden method. It's a Boolean method that will return true or false. And if it's not hidden, we're going to say it's not hidden. Otherwise, we'll display that it is hidden. Another attribute we can look for, another piece of data we can look for, is if the file is writable or not. In other words, can we write data to that file? Now, we won't go to all the trouble of saying if it's not writable that the file is not writable. We're going to stop with that. We'll also check to see if the file is readable. And I've already seen a little mistake I made right there. That should be files. There we go. File is readable. And there are many, many other attributes you can look at. I want to stop there just because you get the main idea of what I'm trying to do. More than that is just being a bit redundant. Then we're going to catch an IO exception. And we're just going to print a simple message. Error checking file attributes. And like I said, there's many, many other attributes you can check. I would just look at the documentation for java.nio.file to learn about more of the attributes you can check. These will give you a good sense of what you can do with NIO and file data. So let's save that. Come back to our screen. Compile it. Then we'll run it with a file that we've used previously, grades.txt. It's in the data subdirectory right off the root. So notice again that I'm using double backslashes to escape the special character D although there's not a special character G, just to make sure that there's not. And there it shows that the file I'm looking for is grades.txt. File is not hidden. File is writable. File is readable. And we could even do this on the file that we created here, just for fun. Now, notice that when we did that, we get an exception. Let's try it again. It's going to be a lot of trouble to go to the whole length of that. Let's see if I have a text.txt file. There we go. Let me go back and show you this in the code. So when using paths like this, you have to be very careful, because without providing the full path as the argument, the command line argument, you're going to have an exception when the program is run. So just keep that in mind when you use this particular program. So that wraps up this lesson on getting file data or getting file information. Now we're going to move to our exercise for this chapter on NIO. We're going to stay in Java 7, and I'm going to show you how to write a utility that will read the files out of a directory tree.